Good afternoon, everybody. This is Fago Franklin III with New Stitch Media. Today, I am joined by Jacques McClendon. He's a former NFL center, as well as the director of player of engagement for the Los Angeles Rams. How you doing today?
Doing good, man. Appreciate you having me, Fago.
Oh, no problem, man. Before we get into your NFL journey, tell me a little bit. Give some words of encouraging give some words of encouragement to my fans and viewers.
You know what, man? It's just great to be with you all here today, man. As we continue to fight this good fight, especially of diversity within these sports and, people of color, rising up, man. It's just great to be on venues like this where we can have a great conversation and dialogue, man. So appreciate y'all tuning in.
Hey, man, thank you again. So what inspired you to get into football and start your NFL journey?
You know what, man? At the end of the day, grew up in a single-parent household, right? So we didn't have much, so sports was that outlet. Always had the opportunity to play basketball, football, baseball, whatever it was, whatever season, I was always doing it. As I got older, football became a sport I gravitated towards, and was allowed to get a lot of opportunity through scholarship. And, I probably don't go to college, right, without this game, and I probably don't have lived the life I live without this game, right? So I think at the end of the day, man, when something's giving so much to you, you want to give so much back to it. So people ask me, why do I still work in it? Because I can never repay the game for what it did to me. And I'm just excited to still be a part of it.
How has football molded you into a better leader as well as the man that you are today?
You know what, man, I would love to say that I truly believe that there's nothing like the locker room, right? In terms of, when we walk in that locker room, when we're 11 people on the field trying to do together as one, when you're fighting for something bigger than yourself, that it's the way you would love the world to be. Would love to see the world to be more. And so, when we're in that locker room, we don't see color, we don't see religion, we don't see race. And so I think that, especially when we touch that field, it's 11 people fighting as one. It's a whole team fighting for one. It's the coaching staff and the players collaborating so that we can all go attack this mission and have success over a sustainable amount of time. So, I just truly love that team camaraderie, that team aspect, and that value-based work while having the mission oriented week to week in terms of what else we're trying to accomplish, man. So it's always great to be part of something bigger than yourself, and that's why I love the game of football, because it truly takes everybody.
How have you adjusted and adapted since this pandemic has been going on?
You know what? It's obviously been a big pivot for everybody, and I think that leaning into all of the best practices, mask wearing, washing your hands, taking extra precautions to make sure that you're abiding by everything the right way. The NFL and the union have done a great job enacting protocols for the way we travel, for the way we walk around our building every day. It definitely feels different. But at the end of the day, we're all still privileged and excited to be able to continue to play week in, week out, have an opportunity to compete, work. And we also know at the end of the day, too, we're dealing with a world pandemic, right? So one thing that we won't do is the NFL, we're not going to say, woe is me, or act like, that we're worse off than anybody, because we're dealing with something everybody's dealing with, and we're very sensitive to that. So it's just been nice to see the NFL do everything they can to make this and the union come together to make this experience as good as it can be. But it's different, and guess what? The world's different right now. So we're going to have to act accordingly and making sure that we're abiding by everything that we're doing and making sure we're doing everything the right way. But it's been different, but it's been good because we're still in the building.
In 2010, you was drafted by the Colts. Could you go back and tell me, how did you feel when you got drafted?
You know what? It's one of those things that you really can't put into words. I just remember being my mother holding a barbecue with the family. Mm-hmm. And it was that one moment that, me and her had got to share. And it's something that you'll forever remember, right? Because you've been through so much. You may have had so many trials and tribulations that you've been through your life, and you didn't think a moment like this was possible. And so for it to come to fruition, to share it with somebody like my mother, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, I think that it was truly special. And so, you look back at the career and just being able to play in the league and enjoy that experience, it's something that you never forget. So, I'm just happy to be a part of that collective. And I'm still happy to be part of the collective of still being able to work in the National Football League. And I don't take that for granted any day I'm in the building.
You played for 7 different teams. Was it difficult to you at that current time that you couldn't really find a good home for that longevity aspect of pursuing your career?
No, I think at the end of the day, right, I think you just have to have perspective of what the game is. And the game is that, that your opportunities where you are, where your feet are at. So at the end of the day, I don't look at it as I played for multiple teams. I look at it as I had multiple years that I got to be in the building. I'm a vested veteran. My family's life's different. My wife's life's different. My life's different forever changed because of the Shield. And I still get to work within it. So I don't look at it as a trying time. I look at it as an experience, and it allowed me to adapt to a bunch of different cultures and learn to talk to a bunch of different people. And guess what? That's just triple the relationships that most people have. So I don't think I had a bad stop along the way and got to meet new people and learn new things. And guess what? I was able to get a paycheck for a good while. So I don't think you look at it in a negative light. You always try to look at it in a positive light, because at the end of the day, right, so many people would have loved to have that opportunity to play. And so I don't take it for granted that I did get to play for the amount of time I did.
What does it mean to you that you can inspire all these different players that come in and listen to your words of wisdom?
You know what? I think that, hopefully because I played it, I'm able to see from their vantage point, and I've lived it, I've done it, seen everything they've seen. So, I think it's cool to have the opportunity and outlet to be able to, just shine light on what the process is like of being a professional, right? Like, some players are better than others, but at the end of the day, I think that if you can find out who you are, what your rhythm is, and own that, your experience is going to be your experience, and you can at the end of the day know that you gave all you've gotten and all that you have given God-given talent, been able to do to best take advantage of that opportunity. So I think it's a great role to be in for me, given that I was able to play, and it's fun, it's exciting. But I mean, at the end of the day, I'm only as good as my leadership is, right? So we have a dynamic president, head coach, GM. The VP of performance, VP of football administration here. So like we got key leaders in great roles that really truly care about people, right? So at the end of the day, it's the way our culture is built here in terms of we're very people centric, and we know that our culture is our people. And so we just have done an unbelievable job of collecting a bunch of talented individuals that come in here and work all for the same goal, and put their ego aside, and nobody be bigger than, the Rams and what we're trying to accomplish on any given day, any given week, any given month, any given year.
Can you tell me and go in depth about, just being the director of player engagement for the Rams? A lot of people actually on my end want to know, what is your responsibility and what is your role actually?
You know what? I think the role changes by the season, right? I think that when you're in a role like this, you got to have range, you got to have agility, you got to be willing to develop relationships that otherwise other people may not have. So my role is really it's really no day looks the same, no season looks the same. From fall, spring, summer to winter, there's all different changes within those. In the spring, I think one of the cool parts that I'm really privileged here to do is that we have a dynamic GM that truly cares about who's coming in the building, what's a fit. And so I'm involved in the scouting process, and I work with the scouts on making sure that we're getting people that are going to fit within our culture, and getting young men that are can excel here. And I truly value the aspect that they allow me to be able to supplement and be a part of that process. It's a very fun part of this role. Once we do the draft, it's all about our young guy onboarding, our rookie onboarding. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces of director player engagement, to make sure that these young guys understand what it takes to be a professional on and off the field. We have a culture that's set here by a general manager and head coach. So it's up to me to be able to articulate that, right, and make sure that these guys understand what it's like to be a Ram, because there's 32 different organizations and they're ran 32 different ways. And so we basically take a bunch of steps, a bunch of education, a bunch of...
Oh, sorry about that. What inspiring words can you give people that are hesitant right now and uncertain about the times that we are facing right now?
I think you just got to be able to pivot, right? I think this world, one thing we know is that the world has been through this before. Look, I think it was, don't quote me on the days, on the 1914, 1918, back in those early days, we had a pandemic at that time too. And guess what? We got through it. And I think it's going to be the same thing now. Things look different now. There's going to be some pivots. There's going to be some changes. There's going to be some need for agility, but listen to the science. For one, stay safe. Do everything safely, because the most important is that you're healthy and that you're being able to, operate because of that health. Two, check in on your mental health. I think one thing that I've seen that with this thing is that with the pandemic, it's kind of synced people, whether you're working at home, whether the kids can't go to school, whether you can't go to the restaurants like you used to, whatever it may be, everybody's rhythm's messed up. And so when your rhythm's messed up, the first thing that goes is your mental health space in terms of feeling, whether it becomes a little level of depression, little levels of anxiety. Like, always check in and always depend on those people that you can depend on, and lean on those shoulders and making sure that that you have a support system. And number 3, leverage technology. I mean, I tell people all the time, if this pandemic happened 10 years ago, the United States would have been cooked. We didn't have internet technology that's as good as it is. We didn't have Zoom, Microsoft Teams, FaceTime, and all these ways we'll still be able to visually connect, just like we're doing right now with this interview, right? So you just got to be willing to pivot and learn the technology, because I guess what, it's definitely challenging, and it's definitely not the norm, but there's still an ability to connect and learn and still be able to, just because you're not present doesn't mean that you can't be disconnected, right? So I think the leverage this technology piece and still figuring out your new rhythm is valuable, because there's still a lot of opportunity in a pandemic, but you just got to be willing to pivot, shift, and learn.
The Rams are 5-3. What do you think you need to do in order for y'all to excel and go back to the postseason this year?
We just take it one game at a time. I think what we have here is a collective of high performing individuals with our staff, with our players. We all understand our role. And I think, as a team, we know that all we can do this week, guess what? We can't look to week 17, week 16 at this point, right? It's who do we got this week? We're at home versus the Seahawks. And even more granular than that, it's Wednesday. Let's go have the best Wednesday practice we can have. Let's go have the best meetings on Wednesday we can have. Let's go make sure that we're doing everything today to put ourselves in a better position for tomorrow. You're taking one day at a time, one meeting at a time, one practice at a time, and we do the best thing we can. And guess what? Our GM always says this, and it really resonates with me, right? We surrender the results of the process, because we're process driven. And we just want to make sure that our process continues to be strong, continues to be between those guardrails of what we want to see, what we want to do. So we just got to continue to do what we do, and we'll see where we land. But I think it starts with a day with having a good Wednesday practice that we're about to have here in about 3 hours.
Yes, sir. And the last question for you is, what teams stood out, are standing out to you, and what teams are like a little disappointment teams to you right now?
You know what? I'll say this. I don't even know if I can answer this question, because at the end of the day, I think a lot of people are, surprised that the NFL was even able to get us off the ground into such a point to where we're operating. So to me, there are no disappointments, because this is just such a hodgepodge of a year where everyone has just had to shift and make everything happen. But I really want to give a shout out to the medical staffs of every team, the operations staffs of every team, because I don't think people understand the amount of lifting that had to be done so every day that we can function. And these individuals have done an unbelievable job. I know that our VP of Performance, Reggie Scott, his clan team that he's developed, our operations with Sophie, Cassandra, they've done an unbelievable job of just giving us the ability to operate. So to me, there are no losers this year. And I know that's very a cliche, but I'm just telling you, it's a pandemic and we're operating. And it's different for people. So I think we're all just happy that we're operating in such a way that's as safe as it can be, and still able to come out here, work every day, and we don't take it for granted. So the winners in this year are going to be everybody. I just truly mean that, because if we're able to continue to roll at the pace we're rolling and get through the season, it really is a credit to the NFL and the PA for coming together with a plan, and the teams for executing. And we can't take that for granted. This is a pandemic. So to me, and like I said, I guess it's a cliche answer, but there are no losers, because 3 months ago nobody knew if there would be a season, and we're sitting here operating as safely and as efficient and as normal as a pandemic will allow you, and that's a win for everybody.
Amen to that. Thank you for coming on the show. I know you got to get ready to get out of here. Thank you again for everything, the acknowledgement, as well as your encouraging words. And I would love to have you come back on the show after the season. Sounds good. We'll look forward to it. Yes, sir. Definitely have a blessed one, my friend. Have a good one. Yes, sir. You too.